All right, everybody, back with the Fantasy Football Gurus podcast, the Two versus Brother podcast. Alfredo couldn't be here with us, but here we have a man that is on the cuffs of being the number one man in fantasy football on top of the mountain, Mr. Franklin. No excuses, Delgadillo.
That's right.
So, how was your trip over from Savannah?
It was good. It was good. A 7-hour drive, but it was a smooth one. You know, knowing that even though Danny in his eyes eliminated me week number 16, in my eyes he didn't, because I beat the Shark. Because had things played out fair and square, as the league knows, I would have faced the Shark in the semis, thus setting up the finals matchup between me and Danny. And here's the thing, Danny's known that I was gonna face him in the finals. He knew all along, bro. He knew it, and he tried to throw everything at me to avoid me in the finals. Because I think deep down, Danny, you know that I was gonna face you in the finals, and you tried to collude against me to avoid me from getting there. Because as you know, look what happened. My quarterback went off for 23 points, and that's not a good start for you. And so I'm excited. I'm 23 points ahead of KMA and of Danny. So I can't wait, man. Can't wait for Sunday.
Alrighty. Any questions you want to give to KMA?
Pedro, here's the thing, man. It's so funny. I don't know if you saw in the chat when I posted that clip of KMA agreeing to a triple threat match.
Yeah.
He said, give the league whatever they want. I'm down. And it's so funny that as soon as Joe Flacco goes off for 23 points, he's like, I never agreed to it.
Yep.
I never agreed to this, or, you know, it's a final, it's a two-headed horse race. No. You're on record, on audio, saying, give the league what they want. And according to what the league wants, majority rules, give me a triple threat match. And I'm in it, bro. I don't care what they say. I don't care what Danny says. I don't care what KMA says. They both have to outscore me. That's all. That's how I see it. And the winner will get this beautiful baby right here.
Yes, sir. Now, I do have a quick question for you. As I did have a podcast with Dan here for you.
Right.
And as you saw, he pretty much denies any involvement in collusion. He just says, in his words, conspiracy to collude. Is this considered a punishable offense in your eyes?
Let me ask you something, Pedro. Is an attempt to murder a punishable thing in the eyes of the law?
Of course.
That's right. And even though you failed to murder someone, you can still go to jail. You can still be punished by law. And so I see that the same. Danny attempted to collude against me, and thankfully, Steven has revealed the text messages that went on between both of them, how ultimately they wanted to screw me. They didn't want me to get the bye. And again, this goes back to Danny avoiding me in the finals. So because two players colluded against one, I feel like that in itself is punishable. That should be deemed disqualified, and it should technically be me versus KMA. It should not be Danny versus me. But I'm such a great commissioner that I'm allowing him to be in the finals. I'm allowing this triple threat match, because in any other league, I even asked KMA, let me ask you something. If they did this where they both benched their players, what would happen in that league? He's like, no, I spoke to my other leagues and they said, I would have kicked them out. Completely out. And the fact that, you know, the commissioner didn't do anything about it is like, it's beyond me. And I allowed it because as commissioner, I felt hostage. Because he's like, oh, well, you know, if you plug in the players, then basically, you know, that's not fair, because, you know, we agreed to it, both players are agreeing to bench and this and that. But the league, on the other hand, said, no, that's not fair, you know, you shouldn't do that. You know me, Pedro, I'm always trying to satisfy both sides, so I let it ride out. But at the end, I got screwed. And KMA told me when that move happened, he's like, bro, that's not fair, because then I'm going to have to face Danny in the semifinals. What if I face Danny in the semifinals? And I go, KMA, the way I see it, if it all plays out the way I think it's going to play out, you're going to play you're gonna play what's his name?
AARP.
AARP Alex, and then I'm gonna play Danny in the semifinals. And he goes, oh, never mind. So he was fine with it after the fact.
Correct.
So I don't feel it's fair. I don't feel it's fair because I've been a fair manager. I'm fair to everyone. I was even fair. Danny, do you remember when you dropped DeAndre Hopkins? I could have kept the player, but I gave him back to you. And then the other person that I can't stand that voted against it is, what's this guy's name? Mr. Deeds. Mm-hmm. Mr. Deeds earlier in the season dropped, who's this running back from Green Bay? I keep forgetting his name.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. He dropped him. Hey guys, I made a mistake. You know, is it okay, Commissioner, if you put him back in my team? And I was nice enough to put Aaron Jones back in. So why is it that I'm supposed to do these type of favors for people, but when it comes to like treating me fair, it's like, no, you're gonna get the crap end of the stick. To not say the bad word here on the podcast, but you know what I mean?
I get you.
So I feel like it's only fair that I get involved in this triple threat match because there's no other way about it. If it's me and KMA, Danny's gonna get screwed. Why am I gonna screw Danny from a championship that he deserves? And I'll go out on record and I'll say he deserves to be there. Had he not colluded, he would be in the championship match. And it would be me versus him in the finals. But then, why am I gonna screw KMA? KMA had nothing to do with this. KMA deserves to be in the final as well. But then what about me? I deserve to be in the finals. That's not fair. So I feel like the only fair way to do this is to have a triple threat match, which the majority of the league has agreed. But now all of a sudden, one of them who initially agreed is backing out in KMA. So it's not fair. I'm always the one getting the crap end of the stick. Why? I'm tired of being nice. I feel like this is the fair thing to do. I mean, that's what I feel. That's what the league feels. And if he says something else, oh well.
Okay. Just to push back on you a little bit, because Danny did bring up on the podcast. I told him with the last question I asked him, I said, if you were to be forced to play in the triple threat, what would you do? Would you retire from the league? You wouldn't play anymore? And he pretty much said, I'm not going to be like Steven. I'm not going to be like Franklin, and I'm going to actually play. But we have to investigate, basically, in not what he was trying to say, but a dirty commissioner. A commissioner that does what he wants to do, and not necessarily for the league.
Okay.
What do you have in response to that?
Okay, so again, my rebuttal to that is a dirty commissioner, Danny. Tell me this: if I was a dirty commissioner 3 years ago, would I have given you DeAndre Hopkins back? When your ex-best friend Steven told me at that time, no, bro. When someone drops someone, Yahoo tells you, "Are you sure you want to drop X player?" It tells you, "Are you sure?" So you have to confirm twice, and you still dropped them. And I was fair enough, and I give him back to you, even though I was the one benefiting from that. But now he doesn't want to see it my way, and he just wants to see things his way. Look, man. Now, unfortunately, the way Danny plays the game, he only sees his own interest, and I understand that. There's players like that, you know. Steven plays that way, and I completely 100% understand. He's also gone out on record and he said, well, you know, this should have been done in week 14, right? Okay, cool. So we realized that I would have been in the finals in week 16, 2 weeks after the fact. But what happened in 2000, I think it was in 2015, and Steven stated this, when Steven was the champion, there was a stat change that had occurred in the first round of the playoffs, Pedro. And the league agreed, almost unanimously, I think. They said, no, we got to go back, correct the stats. And at that time, when we did that, Steven was eliminated in the first round. And then some guy named Flex, who never again joined, won the championship that year. So again, to me, we done it on Steven. So he cannot go back and say, well, you know, you had your chance, Commissioner. No, he can't say that. When he lost, when Steven plugged in those final players, what is it that he told the Commissioner? Commish, plug in the players. Because he was getting screwed. You see how Danny only looks out for his own interest.
Correct.
Plug in the player, Commish. Okay, yeah, because now you got screwed. And I've been a good friend to you, Danny. I've been a great friend. You cannot say I'm a dirty commissioner. Pedro, did not we warn him? Weeks ago, this guy will turn on you. DTS, don't trust Steven. Didn't we warn him?
Yeah.
And you still went ahead with it. And you knew he was gonna screw you because you said, even if he screws me, no, bro. At the end of the day, we've been nothing but nice to you. And I feel like the only thing that I'm owed, and I asked the league, was to allow me to play in this finals. That's what I asked the league, because I have been a fair commissioner up to this point. I've given the league what they want, and I feel like now you're scared because you have a feeling that you might lose. Because if you were so confident in your Thanos team, then you would have the balls to face me in week 17. But you're not so confident on your team, are you? You're like, no, I already beat this bum. No, you didn't beat me, bro. You beat KMA, and I beat the Shark. Technically, it's supposed to be me and you in the finals. As I projected, and as a lot of members in the league already saw it, it's going to be Danny versus Franklin in the finals. And I think a few people had it in their bracketology. I don't know if you had it in your bracketology.
I had him losing to the Shark, but that's because the Shark was on tear.
Oh,
but
right.
then the Shark will rest in peace.
Right. And I don't know if it was Alfredo, but you know, there's some people that I remember had it in their projections that it was going to be me and Danny. Like all season it's been me and him neck to neck. KMA 2, and then Keenan was hurt and he fell off.
Correct.
So you know, like the same thing I tell Danny, I'm going to tell KMA. I deserve to be in this finals just as much as you two. It's not fair that I get screwed. 17 weeks invested in this crap, and I deserve a final shot at least. And if I lose, okay, I'm gonna be a bigger man. I won't leave the chat. I like leaving the chat. I like messing with the people. But I won't leave the chat, and I'll be the bigger man, and I'll acknowledge your championship. But since Danny has not, then there's gonna be a big old asterisk in that championship.
Now let's play devil's advocate, and let's say that the league did not vote for you to be in this finals. Let's just put it out there. Let's say that it was, instead of being 4-3, there was 4-3 in the favor of you not being in the finals. Would you have inserted yourself in the finals?
No, because I'm the type of person that when the majority of the league votes, I also look at the other side of the coin, and I get why like people like Lex say. Lex, for instance, said you had your chance to change it, you didn't change it, and now that you see that it's affecting you, now you want to change it. And I 100% agree with you, Lex. But Lex, let's be honest here, man. We're talking about a commissioner that's given the league everything that they want. And I've been fair, and you know, in seeing what Danny and Steven did, after the evidence that came out, I feel like it's only right for, you know, there to be a three-way match. That's the only way that I feel that this would be fixed, because just like KMA, he feels like if I was plugged in, he would get screwed, and I 100% agree. And I would get screwed too. Like I feel the same way as KMA, as Danny. I feel like I deserve to be in that final spot. And I feel like once you manipulate the statistic, Pedro, that to me screams collusion. And that's what they did. They did not start their whole bench, because he goes, here's another thing that Danny says. I did that last year and you didn't say anything. Okay, you did that last year, but you did that last year to play a favorable opponent.
Correct.
And that's completely understandable, because people do it all the time. But in this instance, you did it to screw another opponent. And to me, once you have two people ganging up on one person, that screams collusion.
Correct.
That's a disadvantage right there. And that to me that should be deemed you getting kicked out of the league, or you not even going to the championship and being the next guy up. But I'm being nice, like I said. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I am.
You know, at the end of the day, you're right. I do agree. I was one of the people that after I heard everything, what everybody said, I said, you know what? Let's put this right. I agreed to the triple threat. Now, did you see on the triple threat who were the ones that voted for and who were the ones that voted against?
Yes, I did. And so the only two people that voted, I'm taking Danny and myself out of the equation, because those votes don't count.
Correct.
So by the verbal podcast that we had with KMA, he's in favor, because he says whatever the league says. I don't care what you're saying now. If you say it's a two-headed horse race, no. I'm going with what you said in the podcast, because now that you see Flacco blew it for 23, now you're saying it's a two-headed horse race. No. You agreed in the podcast verbally. And that to me is as legit as signing a contract on the dotted line right there, my friend. So you're guilty there. You agreed to it. And so he agreed. Steven agreed, Alfredo agreed, the Shark agreed, you agreed, That's 5 people taking me and Danny out of the equation. You know, it only leaves Deeds and what's his face Coquise. You only had 2 people because it's obvious that these people just like him. He's a likable guy,
Correct,
and I get it. But these are people like you and me. You disagreed with me in the past,
Correct.
and there's points that we're gonna disagree, and I respect that. But the people that voted for me to be in that triple threat match, you can argue Alfredo, you know, but these are people that I didn't get along with. Like Steve and I didn't get along with all season. You know, you and I, you know, we bumped heads in the beginning of the season,
Correct.
and you still disagree with me on certain points. So these are people that I feel like there was no conflict of interest, and so they voted for me, and I feel like it's not because they like me. I'm not a likable guy. People hate me, bro, and I get it. I get it. I like to, you know, pull strings. I like to, you know, I like to blow things up. That's just me. But, you know, I feel like by them saying that, especially Steven, a guy that was not even part of our clique, voting in favor of me going to the finals, I feel that speaks volumes right there.
No, you're right. But, you know, just to wrap this up, what would it mean to you to be considered the GOAT of this league?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, Pedro, if I pull this off, Pedro, I don't think you can disagree with me when I tell you that Danny, historically speaking, has assembled the best team I've ever seen. Unlike Danny, bro, I'm a man, I have cojones, and I can admit when I see something. And Danny, I'm giving you all the props in the world. You have a juggernaut. You have a Thanos of a team. But man, to beat that team, you know, with Ezekiel Elliott on my flex, and you know, it's just people. My team is good, but it's not at that level.
No.
I mean, you said it the other day. He potentially has 3 players that are going to be first round picks next year. And you know, if I can bring that team down, oh my God, words cannot even explain what's gonna happen. Danny, you can't fathom what's gonna happen, bro. Your head cannot comprehend what's coming because you have pissed off a lot of people in the league. You have become an arrogant son of a, not to say the bad word, but yes. And if you lose, bro, this is gonna be the biggest choke job ever. That's all I gotta say about that. And man, am I going down to River Street and I'm bar hopping at River Street, and we're gonna get the night started. We're gonna have a parade in River Street, man. I gotta bring it home for Savannah, man.
Everybody in Miami will know.
Everybody in Miami will know. Miami will know. Savannah will know who the choke artist is, who the collusion artist is. Bro, there's nothing to be scared of, bro. All you had to say was yes. By saying yes, you would have avoided all this question marks. But now that you've avoided me, everyone's questioning you. So, good luck, Danny. I don't care what you have to say. I'm in the finals. It's a triple threat match. It's happening Sunday night. I've already landed the first blows. 23 points ahead of you and KMA. Couldn't ask for a better start. Good luck, which is not to say the bad word.
Alrighty. So everybody, as you see, right now, we have a triple threat match for the championship of this league. This illustrious championship right here, held by many people in the past, including you. Very first. So we're gonna end this right now, and we're gonna go on. Next time that you see us, it will be crowning a new champion.
Number 1, baby. Number 1. Number 1 in the league and number 1 in your hearts, baby. I love you.